So today I'm going to be sitting down with some brand new partners and they want to know, Kris, do a game plan. How long is it going to take for us to become millionaires? And so I'm going to sit down, we're going to go through that, and frankly, we're going to figure it out right now. In fact, they're right over here.
It's about to be legendary.
We're moving forward, buying some real estate. You guys excited?
We are very excited.
Why are you excited?
I like the opportunity to make money without having to work every day for it.
And what is it you do right now for a living?
I'm a computer forensic examiner.
Okay, that's like a total mouthful. What does that boil down to?
I get people in trouble for what they do on their electronic devices. That's essentially what I do for a living.
Are you in trouble for things you do on your electronic device? This man is now, he's your worst enemy. Okay. But basically people being naughty or doing some no-nos, and then you basically prove that they did something wrong?
Correct. Recreate timelines, recover deleted information, whether it's in criminal court or civil court. People in law enforcement agencies hire us to find what has been hidden or lost.
So that's what he does for a living. Question is, how do we help him get to that millionaire status, right?
Correct.
Because this is all, there's a drive here for some financial freedom. Esther, how do we know each other?
We live by each other.
We live by each other. How cool is that? But before we live by each other, like your husband was watching me on YouTube, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And how long, Trent, have you been watching the channel?
Probably about 2 months before I met you, so a year and a half.
So was that weird when I moved in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird, right? But some things are like meant to be, right?
Correct.
So here's what I want to do, guys. I want to basically create a map here, and here's what I love to do. I love to basically put myself in people's shoes and say, how do I become financially free? How long is it going to take? And how do I accelerate it? Like, I feel like those are questions that people, they ask and they want to know. And the reality is a career will always limit our ability to have what we want when we want it as fast as we want it, because vocational training, college, careers are really all about, some jobs pay better than others, but it's pretty rare to have a job, even a good paying job, that can totally create the financial freedom that someone wants in a working life.
I agree with that.
So why were you, just one more question, like why were you even checking out the channel in the first place before we even met each other?
So my mom does hard money lending.
Okay.
And so I've always had kind of an interest in real estate from that standpoint.
Yeah.
This is different from what she does, but it is real estate, so I was intrigued by it, and that's when I started watching it.
All right. Well, right now we're going to get financially naked.
Okay.
Which is way more comfortable than naked maybe, on camera at least maybe. What I want to do is I just want to map out how do you actually get where you want to go? And I got to ask you a couple of sensitive questions to figure this out.
Okay.
Okay. And that question is, what have you set aside in your working life that you actually want to put into real estate? What do we have to play with?
We have about, we'll say $160,000 to play with.
All right. And this $160,000, did it come from 401k, IRA, savings? Like how did you save that? Are you really good at budgeting?
I wish I was really good at budgeting. I leave that to Esther.
Okay.
This came from the sale of my company.
Okay, so you had a company, you sold it, and then right now you're working for somebody else?
Correct.
Awesome. And do you love what you do?
I used to.
Okay.
I've gotten kind of burnt out on it. I still have a deep respect for what I do and the help that I get to give people.
But that's true for everybody. I mean, it's weird that I can't believe that our grandparents came from a generation where it's like, you're going to decide what you want to do, and then you're going to do that for 50 years and love it all. I'm like, you become crotchety when you do something too long. Your industry is super fascinating, and you're definitely providing, I think, a meaningful service for a ton of people. But it sounds like you've kind of...
I would like to have something else that helps support my family, short and long term.
Good, awesome. So, $160,000, and here's the question today. How do you take $160,000, and what are the options? Like, what can you do with that to actually create the future that you want? That make sense?
Absolutely.
Do you mind if I play?
Go right ahead.
Okay, I like to play. Here's what I know about you. I know that you have a job, credit, average, excellent, normal?
Average to slightly below average.
Okay, so somewhere in that average range. And the question is, how do we take this $160,000 and turn this into something meaningful? So I'm gonna now just basically pretend that I'm you and say, if I were you guys and I didn't have any of your rules about money, if I didn't have any of your beliefs about debts, good or bad, or business or anything, if I just literally had your assets in your life, question is, what would I do to become financially free? So that's really that's what I'm gonna kind of operate from.
Okay.
Before I show you that, I'm kind of curious. If you were financially free, and I want you to ask yourself this question. If you were financially free, what would you do with that freedom? Like, what would be meaningful to you? Like, why do you want to become financially free? What drives that?
You want to answer that first?
Sure. I want to spend more time with my husband and my family, go on trips that we've never been able to go on.
4 kids, right?
Yes, 4 kids. Time is the big one for me.
Okay.
More time.
I get that. You know, it's interesting that at one point in our life, like the more money, the more better. And then at another point in life, the more time, the more better. And at one point, the more health, the more better. Mm-hmm. And so right now, time's the big priority.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I got 4 kids, you know that. So like time is that thing that I value. And if we want to get our time back, we need someone to still work for us. And right now it's, how do I make this work for me so I don't have to work for me? And how do I create other businesses and other ventures? And how do I basically create leverage? This is the one thing that most people are not really like concerned with that they should be. Everyone is trading their time, you know, for money. And when you had your own business, you actually built a value, you got to sell it, and that value said, wow, I actually built something more than the money I got paid because I had leverage. So we want to bring this leverage back in your life. So $160,000, what goes through my mind is I start seeing a bunch of 20% down payments on some of the sexiest real estate in existence. Now, you guys know that out of the last several thousand deals I've done, my expertise is in averaging 25 to 30% annual ROI. It's easy for me to produce, but it was really hard and cost $10 million figuring out how to do it. Needless to say, it's now, I've got a machine of 200 experts in place, and we buy real estate every single day, and we know how to make it real simple. So here's what it looks like. On average, I'm setting aside about $35,000, $45,000 to put towards a property. And what this represents is a 20% down payment. That's where a bank will say, we're gonna take your job, your average credit, and now we're gonna allow you to basically buy a property. If, by the way, credit has any kind of glitch, I don't even need credit to buy real estate, but we only go there if we need to. I'm gonna keep it simpler today, right? Okay. I've got millions of like just endless like where do we go if and then sequences because it's like real estate is built around no you can't, no you can't. In fact, it's cool that you have a mom in real estate. Most people don't believe that you can make money in real estate. A lot of people think it's a scam or you'd have to get lucky or you'd have to have the right timing. The reality is if you know what you're doing, you have a good strategy, it's super viable. So if 40,000 can buy a house and if this is a 20% down payment and this house is earning me 25% a year, then there's really enough here to actually buy carefully 4 of these homes. Now here's the thought process. If my money is earning 25% a year, how many years does it take to double?
That would be just under 3.
Yeah, so 25, 25, 25, 25, and with it compounding, it's right around just a little over 3 years actually. But then when you have selling costs and there's some other things, so my goal is always, how do I make my money double every 5 years? A bank's money, if I'm earning 1%, takes like a lifetime to double. If I put money in a 401k earning 3 or 4%, it takes like 20 whatever years for it to be able to double. So if I can double my money every 5 years, I'm happy. I'm like, okay, that will accelerate and can build to something. So the goal is, if we put this on a timeline, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, if we start right now with 4 homes, then in 5 years, the goal would be for what?
To have 8 homes.
The goal would be for that to turn into 8 homes, and then in 10 years for that to become 16, and after that? 32, and after that, 64. So here's the good news. Real estate, with time, a small thing always becomes a really big thing. And you guys are still young, so I think it's important to have a 20-year plan, a 30-year plan, a 40-year plan, but you want to have financial freedom way sooner than 20, 30, 40 years. So you have to stack some things in addition to this. Just, I think the first walkaway, and then I have 2 more ideas for you. The first walkaway is just understanding, number one, you can buy real estate. You have the ability. And whether that was sitting in a 401k, IRA, or from the sale of a business, every one of us should be concerned with, how do I make my money work for me so I don't have to? When these multiply, what happens when you have 32 homes, and if you focus on cash flow at the time, and you're making $400 or $500 a house, and you have 32 of them, that turns into a really sexy cash flow, right? So step one is to basically, step one, get your money on track. Now, we have an ultimate goal of what you want that to do, but before we can even focus on the goal, there are other things that you can do to actually accelerate this. So, for example, you mentioned your mom's in real estate. She does hard money.
Correct.
Do you know what kind of interest rates are interesting to your mother in hard money?
12 to 14%.
12 to 14. How do you think she would respond to 25?
She'd be pretty excited about it.
Would she be excited about it?
I think so.
Most investors are. In fact, most people that are usually only earning 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%. But if she's even earning 12, the idea of earning more than that, if someone had that option, is there a chance she might want to diversify and get in on some of that?
I would think so.
Yeah, but you know what? She's family. So you know what family always says? Well, I'm going to let you do it first, and I'm going to see if you fall on your face. I mean, that's just kind of what happens. But if you go in and you start building this track record, not just your mom, but other people, then start saying, wow, how do I do that? And so I think if step one is get your money on track, then when I look at step two is get OPM, which stands for other people's money, get OPM on track. So this is all about actually, yes, this in time is going to create the freedom that you want, but this is actually about you basically getting yourself on track. And once you have a track record, that's when other people basically say, how can I get in on that? And there's ways for you to take advantage of that. There's a way for you to basically say, here's our track record, this is what we're doing with our money, see that it's working, and then you can offer doing something similar to them, and there's a way for you to win in actually providing that for others. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Do you have any questions about that?
No.
This is the accelerator.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate accelerator is business. So when you have your own business, most people, when they find a business, just find another job. So they're just working another 40, 50, 80-hour week thing, trying to make money. I look for businesses where my job is to actually become an owner versus an operator. Do you know the difference?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
An operator, you're married to that business. An owner, you own the business, and other people operate it for you.
You 100% get it. Which side do you want to be on?
I want to be on the owner side.
Now, by the way, when you sold your company, were you an owner or an operator?
I was 125% operator.
You're the 125% operator. And by the way, was it a profitable business?
Yes.
Which is why you could sell it
For a profit.
for a profit. If you could snap your fingers and set that same thing up again, but instead of being the operator, pay someone to be the operator, would there still have been leftover profits?
Not really, no.
So in that particular business, it didn't work very well.
No.
So your goal is to find a business where you can pay to have other people run it, and guess what it still has?
Profit.
It still has profit. So this is a huge accelerator right here, and this is a huge accelerator. So these are my biggest financial beliefs, which is number one, be really good at paying yourself first, save money so that you have money to invest. You've done that. Then you get it on track and get it earning for you. Keep saving your money in the meantime so you can put more in. And then in the meantime, you develop a track record and you start saying, hey, time is the thing that makes all of us equal. You and I have 24 hours in a day.
Correct.
But if I earn more than you in that same 24 hours a day, it's because I have more leverage than you, more than likely. And so all of us should be asking, how do I get more leverage? Mm-hmm. So my friends, this is first of all like meeting one, and we're going to track your journey here. This is the good news for you. The good news is, dude, you've got the ability to plow, move forward, and get in the space of real estate and dominate. You excited?
Oh,
Very
yeah.
much so.
Do you have any questions?
I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't.
Okay, when we sit down again next, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into all right, how do we like set this thing in motion and make it go? Because what we have now is a game plan, and it's rough. We have money, let's get it put to work, and then we're gonna start multiplying it, and then we're gonna focus on those other accelerators. So when we get together next time, for those of you tuning in, we're gonna go ahead and learn more about Trent and Esther and their journey of what it is they're going to do to actually take their next steps to actually owning real estate. Hey, thank you so much for joining Trent and Esther on their journey of trying to figure out, wow, we've heard about this whole real estate game, how do we get in? There's going to be more videos coming up where we follow them on their journey and figure out, does it totally like blow up? Is this good? Is it positive? Is it negative? I'm gonna show you what I've done with thousands of other people, and I hope it inspires you that you can do the same. Step one though, it always starts with a game plan. And some of you are thinking, I wonder what my game plan would be if Kris Krohn sat down with me. How do I get that dude's phone number? I'm gonna make it super easy for you. In the description below, there's a link. Go ahead and click that, and you can actually submit your name and phone number to talk to a member of my team, certified by me in how to deliver your custom financial game plan. If you wanna know what your wealth plan is, if you wanna know what it's gonna take for you to become financially free, become a millionaire or a multimillionaire, all you gotta do is click the link below, talk to my team, and they'll break it all down for you. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on tomorrow's video.